WNDS Sports presents Candlepin Stars and Stripes, featuring the best Candlepin bowlers from all over New England. And now in our 15th season, your hosts for Candlepin Stars and Stripes, Dick Lutz and Mike Moore.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV from Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Dick Lutz with Mike Moore, and how quickly time flies already. This is our third ladder series of the season, and we have 5 new bowlers over the course of the next 4 weeks who'll be trying to join Scott Creighton and Mike Poulin in our Tournament of Champions at the end of the year.
Yes, it is ladder number 3, a variety of bowlers, some who've never been on television and some who've been on many times, so we're going to run the full spectrum of experience versus inexperience over the next 4 weeks.
Let's meet our 2 bowlers this afternoon. First, our number 5 seed, Kevin Davis. He's from Pembroke, New Hampshire.
That's right. We saw Kevin last February when he lost to Steve Vadney, hoping for a better outcome today, of course. Average of 122. Kevin's high single is 201, high triple 483, and he bowls at Lakeside Lanes in Manchester, New Hampshire.
And Kevin bowled a 626 to earn the number 5 spot in this ladder series, and he'll be taking on our number 4 seed, Joe Stella from Winthrop, Massachusetts.
Joe's never been on WNDS before, a lot of television experience, but his first appearance here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Coming in with an average of 125, Joe's high single 196, high triple 486, and he does his league bowling at Central Park Lanes in East Boston.
Up the ladder we go. It's our first match of ladder series number 3. Let's get right to it when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We'll be right back. We are ready to go with our first match of our third ladder series of this 1999-2000 season. There you see the 5 bowlers who qualified. Gary Santoris sits on top of the heap with Joe Tavanese and Bob Anderson waiting. Our first match this afternoon featuring number 4 seed Joe Stella taking on number 5 Kevin Davis. It'll be Kevin Davis first to bowl here in this opening match at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. And we're set to go and happy to have you with us for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Kevin Davis stands at lane 34 ready to get us started in this first match of this series. And we are underway.
And on WNDS 17 times over the years, never on Channel 5. 32-year-old bowler out of Pembroke, New Hampshire.
Kevin works for Fastenal, an industrial supplier, also works at Fieldhouse Sports, which is an indoor sports facility in Bowie. He was telling me before the taping how busy that Fieldhouse Sports has become. Weekends they're going from 7 in the morning to midnight. They have soccer, basketball, lacrosse, field hockey, baseball, and softball teams that come there from all over the state virtually to use their indoor facility, and it's really grown rapidly over the past couple of years and continues to grow, and he's a part of that growth.
So if you're looking for a place to make some money here in the start of the new millennium, that might be the kind of opportunity you're looking for. Dick, why don't we pool our $400 or $500 and open something like that?
That's your $375 and my $25. Is that what you're talking about? A 9 box for Kevin Davis, and he starts out with a 19. And our first look now at Joe Stella from Winthrop, Massachusetts, averaging 125, a high single of 196, a high triple of 486. Joe's been bowling for 25 years of his 38 years. So he's been bowling a long time.
Well, he came in this morning, Dick, put on his shoes and proceeded to throw 2 strikes in practice.
And he starts out with a 9 ball. Those of us with families can relate to Joe's situation. He's married to Debbie, and they have a couple of kids, Cheryl and Kara and Joe, 3 kids. And he has 3 jobs. He has 3 kids and he has 3 jobs. Works for Central Park Lanes, works for UPS as a courier driver, and works for East Coast Airport Services. And we can all relate to that, can't we?
Indeed.
And when you asked him about his hobbies, his response was a good one. And there's a strike to start the second box for Joe Stella as he got the backdoor action. And we'll watch it one more time. Here it comes backwards, and there they go. Now Kevin Davis to the line. First mark of the match, a strike to Joe Stella. And a spread eagle for Kevin Davis. Triple strike jackpot. Currently holds $700 in it. Haven't had a winner in a while. Like to give that $700 away this afternoon.
Been last spring, Rich Clark cleaned up $1,100-$1,200 somewhere in there.
We did have an $80 winner in our bonus ball contest last week, so we start over with $10 in the bonus ball jackpot at the end of the match. And you can participate in that by sending a card with your name, address, and a number from 0 to 9, 0 to 10 for that matter. Here's a pocket shot by Kevin that leaves him a tough shot. Send your postcard to Leda Lanes, 340 Amherst Street, Nashua 03063. And after each match, Mike Morin dips into the bucket. Kevin going for the spare, unable to convert, gave it a good try. And if your number matches the number of pins knocked over by our winning bowler, you're a winner. If not, you get a consolation prize from N&R Trophies of Winchendon, Massachusetts. A 10 box for Kevin Davis.
Of course, that consolation prize is personally delivered to your house by Dick Lutz, because that's the kind of guy he is.
Happy to do it, especially this time of year.
You're in the giving spirit. We're already, can you believe it's December already? It's amazing.
Joe working on a strike. Missed the head pin, so he'll put 7 in the strike. Our official scorer this afternoon, Bill Muldoon, filling in for Chris Bovair, who is up in Canada doing some bowling.
Big international tournament going on, as it does every year at this time. Unfortunately, due to the timing of our taping, we don't have any results for you, even though, as you watch this, the tournament's been over by a couple of weeks.
There's Joe Stella, a little bit thin in the pocket. Leaving a 2, 4, 5, 7, and 8. 2 more to go. A little later on in the match, we're going to talk about the recent induction ceremonies in the Candlepin Hall of Fame at the Colonial at Linfield. And 8 new members enshrined in the Candlepin Bowling Hall of Fame, and we'll tell you about that a little bit later on.
That's a pretty large induction field, though. I can't ever remember that many going in one year. Terrific names, though. You'll recognize most of them, I'm sure. Only 1 mark between our 2 bowlers so far, in a total of 8 completed frames, and this will be a 10 box for Kevin Davis. There's a near strike. 3-pin all by itself with wood on either side. Not a factor. He'll go straight at it, hoping for his first mark of this match.
And he'll convert. First mark of the first string, a spare. In the 6th box for Kevin Davis, and now Joe Stella coming to the line. Also talk a little bit later on about the search, the pursuit. There's a strike for Joe Stella right in the pocket. Watch Joe Stella's strike coming up once again. Caught the pocket nicely that time. Good action. And the strike. Maybe we will give it away.
Well, the next ball is...
Here's the strike again for Joe Stella, back to back. He'll be looking for the turkey when he comes up. Not only the turkey, the $700 that goes with it. On the spare. Put 5 in the spare for Kevin Davis. Well, he's staring at a deficit now. Misses the spare opportunity. which was a tough one at best. I started to say a little later on, we'll talk about my pursuit of finding out the names of the bowling alleys in Worcester over the years.
You mean you got a list of them?
Got a list of them.
Oh. They must love you in Worcester, all the publicity you've been giving them the last couple of years.
That's why they threw me out of town a long time ago.
Now that shot's no fun.
This is a tough one.
Side saddle triangle and the 10 pin over on the right-hand side. However, a nice piece of wood that could sweep all to the right.
2, 5, 8, and 10.
Didn't
the 8
use
and
it.
10 still standing. A 9 bucks for Kevin Davis. Now all eyes focus on Joe Stella. This is a $700 shot coming up. For a guy with 3 kids and 3 jobs, you're rooting for him, aren't you?
This will buy quite a few groceries and quite a few Christmas presents.
For $700.
Still wiggling, but no dice.
This is for $50. Will it go? The 10 pin stands. So he's unable to pick up the bonus money. And he'll take a 10 bucks. Gave it a good run. Gave both the triple strike and the triple mark a good run.
He builds up a rather substantial early match lead of 32 pins through completed frames over Kevin Davis. There it is.
There's the strike, but in the wrong box. 3 strikes in 4 boxes. Unfortunately, we don't pay out for that.
4 strikes in 8 frames, Dick. That's unbelievable. Half his frames have been strikes.
There's a strike for Kevin Davis.
Feeling a little left out. Jumps into the strike pool. Heading into the 10th frame. Still room for him to win that $700.
It won't happen there. That will almost be a great spare as the 5 pin still stands. The wood wrapped around it. I thought for a minute he was going to get it, but the wood missed it. He's at 105. It'll be a 106 first string for Kevin Davis.
Well, he certainly had a good second half, a 46 first half, and then a 60 second half. So certainly making improvement with a couple of marks.
On the strike, looking for some bonus money opportunities, Joe Stella.
That was really a sour hit.
Tough shot here. Gave it a good
Look at
run.
this.
Still not able to pick it up. Puts 9 in the strike. He's at 129 with a box to go. So he will take a substantial lead to the second string over Kevin Davis. Right on the head pin. Look at that pin dance.
Well, the pins are set up reasonably well for this shot. 3-pin slides right in front of the 7. He'll, at best, take a 10 box, but a better than 30-pin lead going into the second match.
It'll be a 9 and a first string of 138. 32-pin lead for Joe Stella over Kevin Davis as we go to string number 2 of this opening match of our third ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. You are looking at a picture of Jeanette Robinson Richmond, who was one of 8 Candlepin bowlers enshrined in the Candlepin Bowling Hall of Fame in recent ceremonies at the Colonial Country Club in Linfield, Massachusetts. Jeanette Robinson Richmond, I had a wonderful conversation with her on the phone about her bowling career. She was the first opponent of Stacia Zernicke on Candlepin Bowling on Channel 5. And we had just a great conversation as we start the second string. We'll talk about the induction ceremonies. That photo you saw was out of the Worcester Sunday Telegram, and it came after the induction ceremonies. The other bowlers enshrined in the Hall of Fame: James Barber III from Lynn, Tom Sanami of Lynn, Jerry DeVecchia of Lynn, he was enshrined posthumously, Anthony Karam of Dedham, Tony Leo of Peabody, Dan Murphy of Concord, a former host of this show, Don Patchell of Portland, Maine, and Jeanette Robinson Richmond. And what a wonderful conversation I had with Jeanette. First of all, she called to tell me about the bowling history in Worcester and some of the bowling alleys in Worcester. She bowled in Worcester and some of the great bowling leagues that they had in Worcester over the years, and won the Central Massachusetts Championship. The state title is also one of the titles that she won over the years. And the bowling alleys in Worcester that she named off to me, and for those of you in Central Massachusetts, these will all be familiar to you: Bay State, Bowling Green. There were two Bowling Greens. I was not aware of that. I knew there was one. There was one on Central Street and one on Grafton Street. And she mentioned Angie Vaca from the Grafton Street Bowling Green, who was one of the first in the area to bowl using the spot bowling technique, which is more common in 10-pin bowling than candlepin bowling. The Casino Bowling Alley, the 20th Century Bowling Lanes, which I knew, the Central on Central Street. One of the great bowlers at Central was Ray Chin, whose name was just legendary in Central Massachusetts bowling history. Colonial on Mill Street, which is the only one still going. Federal on Federal Street. I bowled there many times. Helen Dubsky, a great bowler at Federal over the years. King Philip, which is out near Norton Company. Metro Bowl on Park Avenue. That's where I first bowled. Mount Carmel, which is at the Mount Carmel Church. They used to have great bowling leagues there. New Deal, which was a new name to me, on Main Street near Lincoln Square. I think, well, I'm not real sure where it is. Recreation on Main Street, down under where I did a lot of bowling as a kid. The Region on Pearl Street, the Strand on Norwood Street. I mentioned 20th Century. Dennis Mack is one of the legendary names in bowling in Worcester. He was the proprietor of those lanes. And a bowling house on Webster Square, which you couldn't remember the names. And then there were a couple of others. State Mutual Life Insurance Company had a bowling alley. The YMCA, where it all began. And the old White City Amusement Park, which is at Lake Quinsigamon, which might technically be in Shrewsbury, but maybe not. It might be in Worcester, but it's
we have
one
an
of the old
earthquake,
bowling,
it will be.
one of the old bowling centers. And
now you must have reeled off 15 names.
there were 20, I believe.
20
yeah.
bowling centers,
Yeah.
and there's one
There's
left.
one left in Worcester, yeah.
And here's what it is now. They're all playing soccer, and it's big amusement centers for the kids to do other things now, and the bowling has unfortunately gone by the way in many places.
And Jeanette Robinson Richmond, now 75 years young, was a competitive bowler from 1947 to 1960. Came back for a while, had an auto accident, and that put her on the sidelines. But just great memories and great conversation about Candlepin bowling in Worcester. And as I spoke with her, she was just about to head south for the winter to Florida, and I promised her we'd send her a copy of the tape of this show, and we'll do that. She gave me her Florida address, and the tape is on the way to you, Jeanette. Thank you very much for the memories and for the great contributions that you made to Candlepin bowling over the years, and congratulations on your enshrinement in the Candlepin Bowling Hall of Fame. Meantime, we've seen a couple of bowlers bowl a couple of boxes.
And pretty much things have stayed as they ended in the first string, with Joseph Stella rolling out marks and Kevin Davis struggling to even leave makeable spares. Have a little help from the wood there. Kevin Davis with a pair of 9s, Joseph Stella with a pair of spares and a couple of 10 boxes. And he's got a substantial lead now in this match. It's going to be difficult to overcome for Kevin Davis unless he turns on the jets and gets going.
Well, speaking of comebacks, in the audience here today is the author of one of the great comebacks on Candlepin Stars and Strikes. Rich Hawk-Hallis is here.
And he is here as a friend of Joseph Stella, lending his support and enthusiasm here in the crowd.
And that great comeback a couple of years ago right here on Candlepin Stars and Strikes.
During the Tournament of Champions. A 66-pin comeback with 8 frames to go to win by 1.
Over Joe Ashline.
I wasn't going to mention that because poor Joe, he's got the Bill Buckner thing going. He moved to Idaho to get away from all the harassment he takes.
It was a great match, a great comeback, just very unusual. And Kevin just can't buy a mark here in the first 4 frames. That was a good opportunity for him, but he's going to find himself down. With the 10 box, he finds himself down 52 pins as we go to the break. We're coming right back to this match between Kevin Davis and Joe Stella on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. Don't go away. Joe Stella ready to go in the 5th frame of our 2nd string of this opening match of ladder series number 3, and he has a 52-pin lead at the halfway point, right on the head pin. He's been getting the marks, and Kevin Davis has been struggling.
They'll need to make a pretty nice cut shot here to get the 3-pin over to the, well, what used to be the 4-pin, now the 4.5 and the 7 with some wood.
That's a nice mark. When you're hot, you're hot.
What a great shot that was.
We talked about Jeanette Richmond earlier in her Hall of Fame enshrinement. As you watch this great mark by Joe Stella once again, terrific pickup. Now working on the spare. Here's Stella on the head pin. He will get 7 in the spare. And Jeanette mentioned to me that she was Stacia Zernicke's first opponent on the Candlepin show on Channel 5. Jim Britt was the host at the time. And it went right down to the final frame, and Stacia won the match. Another mark for Joe Stella,
who can do no wrong, as you pointed out. 4 marks in 6 boxes. Kevin Davis 0 for 4 in his first few frames.
And my good friend Bill Ballou wrote a beautiful piece on Jeanette Robinson Richmond in the Worcester Sunday Telegram on November 7th. If you have a chance to take a look at it, get yourself a copy and read about the exploits of Jeanette Robinson Richmond.
Wow.
How's that for a shot?
That was a
by
cut
Kevin
shot.
Davis.
No wood involved there, Dick.
What a great shot.
Hopefully we can see that shot again.
And he needed it badly. Watch it one more time. Watch this cut as there it goes. No wood, no nothing. Just a perfectly shot spare ball by Kevin Davis. And in the spare, he only puts a 4. Trying to convert 2 in a row.
Putting a little extra zip on his ball right now, which that looked like a 9. We'll see how it's officially scored here.
No, they're going to give him a 10.
All right. Bill Muldoon is our scorekeeper today, as Dick mentioned, filling in for Chris Beaubear, who's
all right. Joe Stella hasn't won any bonus money yet, but he has a couple of chances here. He has a chance. He had 2 strikes in a row in the first string, looking for that $700 triple strike jackpot. Wasn't able to convert. He's got 2 marks in a row, and he's got some pretty good wood, and he's got $50 looking at him right in the face.
He'll try to cap it.
And he'll make the spare. $50 in bonus money for Joe Stella, the first bonus money of the match.
And Joe has some pretty substantial credentials to his resume in bowling. He won the men's doubles NBA state tournament in 1996 with Chuck Pizzella and a couple others that I'll tell you about here in a moment.
Look at this. They're surrounding the 7-pin, but the 7-pin still stands. He will put 9 in the mark.
You know, I heard somebody in the crowd yell, it's automatic. I don't know if
never automatic.
Folks could hear that at home. There was 4 or 5 pins in front of it, and they went every which way but to the 7.
That'll be a $9. One thing you've learned over the years watching Candlepin bowling is it's never automatic. It's never as it appears.
4 pins, and none of them touched the 7.
Now Kevin Davis tries to start the comeback. He trails by a bunch. He needs to throw some marks together.
Well, it certainly is not too late.
And he'll start right there with a spare.
But the patron saint of comebacks, Rich Hallis in the crowd, it could happen. And there's a good start.
He needs to put a few back to back to back to get within shouting distance in the 3rd string. He's on the head pin a little full. The 7-pin will not go down, so he's left with a pretty tough spare.
And disgusted with that shot, just the way he turned around so quickly. More out of frustration than anything else because it was a good ball. Oh,
look at that. He cut another one. 2 great cut spares by Kevin Davis as he tries to fight his way back into the match. Watch it again. Look at this. Again, no wood to help. Here comes the ball into the screen, and there goes the pin. Now Stella tries to stymie the momentum that Kevin Davis seems to have built up.
What a spare shooting exhibition we've seen today. Kevin Davis mostly, and the strikes have all come from Joseph Stella.
That time Stella punches through. Might look back on that 7-pin spare that he missed, although he still has a substantial lead. He's at 128 with a box to go.
Our winner today goes on to take Bob Anderson, who has never bowled on television before. He was our 3rd seed.
Well, the wood is set up pretty decent there for Stella if he can. Well, it angled in a different way. Now it's not that easy a shot, that's for sure. Nope. He's at 136. 137 second string for Joe Stella. A 2-string total for Joe of 275. Kevin Davis needs to string a couple of marks together here. He's got 2 in a row. He needs a couple more. And that time he punches right through on the head pin, puts 5 in the spare, and leaves himself the spread eagle minus the 7-pin. Well, he's going to look at about a 60-pin deficit going to the 3rd string unless he can put another mark on the board. He's at 101. Check it. .101 through 9. Tough shot here for Kevin. 7-pin still stands.
He nearly made that one.
He's at 110. 111. 217 for Kevin Davis through 2. A 58-pin lead for Joseph Stella as we head to string number 3 of this opening match of our 3rd ladder series on Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We're back at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire right after this. Ready to go. 3rd string action coming up, and Davis, who will lead us off in the 3rd string, he trails Joe Stella by 58 pins going into this final string of this opening match. Once again, we're going to read some cards and letters that we've received from our viewers of Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. We get lots of them every month and love to hear from you. Send your cards and letters to Candlepin Stars and Strikes, WNDS TV, 50 Television Place, Derry, New Hampshire 03038. As Kevin starts off the 3rd string with a much needed spare. Eleanor Long from Worcester, Mass. writes in about 1926, when I was 9 years old on Thanksgiving morning, my father and brother and a neighbor and his sons would go to Arlington for the football game. Afterwards, the men and boys would bowl a couple of strings. I was allowed to throw a couple of balls down the alley. All this time, the mothers would be home preparing the Thanksgiving dinner. I loved bowling. I was not a great bowler, but I did get the prize one year for high single. And she watches Candlepin Stars and Strikes every weekend and thanks us for a good program. Eleanor Long, thank you very much for
1926.
1926.
The men were playing and the women were cooking.
Home cooking.
Which is exactly how it is 72, 73 years later. Nothing has changed except it's now football, not bowling on Thanksgiving Day.
That was Mike Morin who said that, friends.
Just an observation.
Mike Morin, the afternoon host on WZID 95.7 FM. We'll take your phone calls.
Thank you, Dick.
Joe Stella starts out with a 9.
Yeah, Joseph Stella can just put it on cruise control if Kevin Davis doesn't start putting a few more marks together.
John Hickey of Auburn, Mass. sent in a list of Worcester bowling alleys as well. He came up with 14 or 15 of them. He mentions the Tatnick alleys, which I do not remember. That would be added to the list. I know where Tatnick Square is in Worcester, but I don't remember where there was a Tatnick alleys. Maybe somebody can confirm that one for me. Says he used to be a pin boy for 2 cents a string and averaged 200 strings a day, and he still has the scars from the old wooden pins.
Oh, well, Bill Muldoon, our scorekeeper, told us he used to set pins back in the late 1920s, and he would come home with bloodied up legs too from flying pins and balls.
Jack Hickey, thank you very much for writing in. Nice to hear from you. Tough way to make a living, wasn't it? Oh, Kevin, almost. Almost doesn't count those. Got to make those. He'll take a 9 box.
Well, Joe Stella is giving him some opportunities here, and he's not seizing the moment.
Has to make marks. Starting right now. Can't break up the split, though. He's in trouble with the split. Not an easy shot. This is the 2 and the 6 that are still standing.
That's pretty much been the story of his life today. Throwing the ball very well, but leaving splits. He's made a few.
Like this one. There it is. He doesn't want the easy ones. He wants the splits.
That's right.
That's his 3rd real good cut shot. Watch it again. Watch the ball come into the screen and take those pins.
Never even used the deadwood on the side.
Now Joe Stella responds with a strike.
That's about 5 or 6 strikes for Joe Stella today.
1,
5,
2, 3, 4. That's the 5th one. He had 4 in the first string. $700 remaining in our triple strike jackpot. This time the 5-pin still stands. And he'll miss the spare. Nice note from Mr. and Mrs. Burton Shaw from Worcester, Massachusetts. They're happy to see Candlepin bowling on television. Last spring they put the cable in, and now they can get WNDS and watch the show as we take a break. And you'll be able to watch the finish of this match when we come back to Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, with Joe Stella way ahead of Kevin Davis, 6 boxes to go. Kevin Davis working on a spare in the 4th box of the 3rd string. He trails Joe Stella by 58 pins minus whatever he's able to get on this first ball. Filling there. And it's not much. It's a 5. So the lead is 53 pins now. Almost picking up another tough spare.
It's 100 today to our runner-up.
Before the break, I mentioned a note by Mr. and Mrs. Burton Gray from Worcester, Massachusetts. One of the things that they point out that they feel that Candlepins is much more interesting than 10 pins. With more challenge and skill with 10s, but after some practice, the big balls and bellied out pins, strikes come easier.
Well, they're supposed to. It's the way the game is designed. It's 2 completely different games. People don't get that. They're both very difficult in their own way.
A mark for Kevin. In the 6th frame, and now Joe Stella.
Got any more mail from Worcester there, Dick? My.
A lot of mail from Worcester.
You are quite the hero in Worcester, I see.
My old stomping grounds.
Let's send the
It's
WNDS
remarkable.
sales staff out to the Worcester Chamber of Commerce for some sponsors.
It really is remarkable that the colonial lanes on Mill Street in Worcester would be the only house still going in a city that has such a rich history in Candlepin bowling.
The birthplace.
The birthplace of Candlepin bowling, and had so many lanes going back not that long ago, really 25, 30 years ago.
Just really a single generation removed, that it makes you wonder where bowling will be in another generation. We hope healthier than it is.
Well, operators are telling us now that there is a resurgence.
Yes.
Kids are coming back to it.
That is very true, and things to thank: Moonlight Bowling, Cosmic Bowling, Rock and Bowl, been helpful to bring the younger people back to the game, or into it for the first time.
$74 for Joe Stella through 6. Kevin Davis with 72 plus a ball as he fills a spare right here. Fills it with 9.
Is that a can't miss shot?
He needs to, can't miss. Guaranteed. That is a spare. Now Kevin has a shot at some bonus money. He needs to run the table. And Joe Stella needs to...
It could happen.
Open the rest of the way out.
Mathematically, Kevin is still alive.
Now, not much in the spare.
Yeah.
Needed to have a better fill in the spare. Just put 4 in it. Kevin not at all pleased with that shot.
The diamond with the 7 and the 10.
He will be open in this 8th frame. That might close the door.
Wanted to mention a few of Joseph Stella's other achievements in Candlepin bowling. He won the MBA, Mass Bowling Association's 3-man team event in 1989 with Craig Holbrook and Mike Fish. And, Dick, he was the WCBC Rookie of the Year in 1988 and 89. So we haven't seen him on WNDS, but now that he's discovered he can do well here at Leda Lames, I would imagine he'll be back for future shows, like next week. Of course, with 3 jobs and 3 kids, doesn't have a whole lot of time. Also want to mention our winner today receives a $50 gift certificate from our friends at Haverhill Beef. This would be a wonderful time of the year to begin planning your meal selection. And head up to Haverhill Beef. Joe and his family will be more than happy to put together a nice package for you and your family, turkey, beef, whatever it may be for the holidays. Get in touch with them. In Haverhill, it's Haverhill Beef.
Now bowling out the string as Kevin is just about mathematically eliminated. He will be now after this box. This will be an open frame and a 9 box. He's at 113. Now all that remains to be seen is if Joe Stella can put some bonus money together, and we'll hold on for that before we break. See if Kevin can mark here. He cannot make the split in the 10th frame. So Joe Stella will advance. He will climb the ladder to face Bob Anderson in our next match. A 9 for Kevin Davis. 122 is his final string. A 3-string total 339. Joe Stella already at 369.
And a pretty good shot at 400 with a couple of marks here.
Let's see if he can put some bonus money on the table. Tough shot here. Put 7 in the spare.
Needs a 125 for 400.
He'll not get it there. We'll watch his first ball in the 10th string, and then we'll break as Joe Stella with a 10 box. He's at 111. The $700 goes back into the vault. And there'll be no triple strike this afternoon. It'll be Joe Stella advancing to next week's match against Bob Anderson. We'll come back to meet our bowlers at Leda Lanes in Nashua right after this.
An impressive win for Joe Stella over Kevin Davis here in our opening match of this 3rd ladder series.
And I really thought that Kevin was throwing the ball very well today, and when we get him up to talk in a second, we'll see there's really a fine line between having a 400 and a 340 day, and there's really not, it's really indiscernible at times. We'll find out what his take is on that.
All right, let's meet our bowlers this afternoon. First, our runner-up, Kevin Davis. Kevin, congratulations. Here's a check for $100 as the runner-up here this afternoon. Unfortunately, no bonus money. Step in a little closer. Joe was pretty consistent here this afternoon.
Yeah, he threw that double right in the first string. Took a big jump, and I never got it going. I couldn't hit the broadside of a barn today.
Mike was talking about the difference between a 400 and a 340. It's just they say that it's a matter of inches. It's not an awful lot.
Yeah, 1/4 of an inch. You know, I had a couple fills there, hit the head pin, and got a 4 fill on one of them, and it was ugly.
Talk about the cut spares that you made. You made 3 spares that those of us who watch bowling all the time dream about. What goes into that?
Well, when you miss so many singles and easy ones, you got to make some tough ones. And that was about all I could hit today. It was a tough one. And Joey bowled great, and he deserved to go on.
Tell me one thing about your business that you're involved with, the Fieldhouse Sports up in Bow, which you were telling me before the match is growing rapidly over the last couple of years.
Yeah, right now they're mainly into soccer and basketball. They're going to be trying to get in like some hitting and stuff for softball and baseball teams and try to get that going throughout the winter if we have spare time because of the soccer being so big.
It's rapidly growing. Kevin, thank you very much. Congratulations to you. Hope to see you again soon.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin Davis, our runner-up here this afternoon. And now it will be Joe Stella stepping up to lane 33, and he'll bowl a bonus ball, and we'll try to match him up with a contestant at home and maybe give away some money. We have $10 in our bonus ball contest jackpot right now, and let's see what we get. And it is an 8. And now Mike Moran will reach into the bucket here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire, which constantly gets replenished week after week. And we have Mary Bartone from Canton, Massachusetts, and Mary picked 7. Mary, we have a consolation prize for you from N&R Trophies of Winchendon, Massachusetts. And the second card out of the bin is Deborah Willey of Brockton, Massachusetts. And Deborah will win 10 free strings of bowling here at Leda Lanes in Nashua, New Hampshire. Now, Joe Stella, aside from the opportunity to advance, we have a $50 gift certificate to Haverhill Beef. We have $50 in bonus money, and consistency was the key to your success here this afternoon. You got off to a fast start.
Yeah, got off to a fast start, threw a double, and that just kept me going the rest of the day.
When you threw that double, did you think in the back of your mind, did you know that the 3 strikes in a row were worth $700 to you?
No, I had no idea, but they were telling me on the side that it was worth $700.
Better you knew after the fact. You wouldn't have been as nervous, maybe, I guess.
Probably.
All right, well, thank you very much. Congratulations to you for your win this afternoon, and we'll see you next time as he climbs up the ladder to face another opponent next week.
Young man by the name of Bob Anderson will join us. 2 weeks from today, we'll see Joe Tavernese, and the top of the ladder is Gary Santora. So the climb will be tough for Joseph Stella, but he appears to be up for the task, approaching nearly 400 on today's show.
Good match this afternoon. Joe Stella advances, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time for another edition of Candlepin Stars and Strikes. For Mike Moran and our entire WNDS TV 50 crew here at Lanes in Nashua, I'm Dick Lutz. Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you next time for Candlepin Stars and Strikes on WNDS TV. See everyone.